that story. Because if I say that in this story, then I need to
You're
say
preceding
this.
yourself.
Yeah. So like, oops. How dare I do that?
Do you know if anyone's sitting here? It might be a little farther from the door.
Where are you sitting?
Right here. Yeah. See, that looks kind of okay.
Okay.
See if I'm framed.
Okay.
Am I framed?
You want to move over there, Greg?
Well, you're tall, so it's got to go there. Now you're framed.
All right.
You're right.
Good. Well, I'd like to welcome you to Sacred Grounds, the longest running poetry open mic in the known and unknown universe. Give yourself a round of applause for being here right now. This is not very loud and a round of applause category. Little screaming out there.
Are you in?
Thank you. David, my co-pilot over there, my Times co-pilot, and Ed Mike Q just walked in, so he's going to write you down on the list, Ed. You're already being written. All right. So,
And 1, 6, or 8.
What?
1, 6, or 8.
6 or 8?
8.
8. Oh, yeah, I'll take those things.
Ed, my, M-Y,
C-U-E, like football.
my Q.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Like my
All
cue.
right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to read the introduction checklist.
Not IQ.
Sometimes they have someone else do this, but nobody else volunteers, so it's left up to me. I already said welcome to Sacred Grounds. I'm Dan Brady.
If you like.
Oh, yeah, okay, there we go. All right, and then we'll have someone do Proposition 1, which you'll find out in a minute. Oh, just that. And then, yeah. All right, there he goes. Give him a round of applause for coming up here and giving me a break. Giving you a break. Would you like the elbow broken or knee broken? Welcome to Sacred Grounds with Dan Brady, the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Let's have a big hand for Teddy, minus Fiona, our host. And please support this reading by enjoying the food and drink served here. Please respect the mic. Hello, Mike. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put devices on mute or airline mode. Please. Tonight's feature is blank, who will give the Queen's Wave. The keynote will be blank. While the mini.
I gotta get Sally Saunders is the feature.
Tonight's feature.
And then the mini is
The keynote.
The keynote is Anwar. Is Anwar here? He may not be here.
Not here.
And then
The
there's
mini is.
and the mini might be Karen Melander Magoon if she's back in the city by now.
And the last word will be.
We don't have a last word.
I can
Whoever is
give you
last.
one.
Right.
Boy, can I give you a last word. Anyhow, please note the link and the sausage and the hot dog. Streaming is handy in many ways, especially when you're bathing. If you can't be here, you can view in. If you want someone to see you live, they'll be able to. Want to hear so-and-so's poem again? Well, you can. Want to do a self-critique? No problemo. More importantly, it is a way to put out the word. I refer to the ongoing theme, never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever happened. Thank you, Margaret Mead. Are you out there, Margaret? Tonight's theme is...
Republican Fantasia.
Republican Fantasia, one we all know and love. Fabulous door prizes are the door, the sill,
And the threshold.
and the street, and the threshold.
So we do have a lot of them.
And
Huge
they're up
numbers.
here.
They're up here. So I'm just going to go through.
Here we
National
are.
Geographic's The Healing Power of Faith. Hallelujah. My iron lung is working again. Patchwork Quilt by Sally Love Saunders, who is here, and she will sign this when you select it. Quiet Thoughts and Gentle Feelings, also by Sally Love Saunders. And then we have the one that I have that I like a lot is Word Pictures. They're all here as part of the thing. Then, of course, we have Wildlife and Wildlife. Not my wildlife.
National Wild.
National Wildlife. And then, in case you're interested, America's National Parks Collection, Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, Yosemite, and 52 more parks, all on handy-dandy CDs, which I got out of a free box, and at least one of them worked. Body Auguries, these are metaphysical poems. Sri Ramandasa's Gita, just in case you don't know. And then this is the Bhagavad Gita as it is, or was back then. And then Alicia Bonnet's Trusting Its Mystical Music about has to do with the goddess and the surfers and grandpa and care of angels. So there's many things here. Besides that, if none of those float your boat, you can be the last word. Choose next week's theme, which of course this week is Russell Publican, whatever it was. The mini feature, which is 8 minutes after the feature and the break. The keynote, which you're about to see if he's here. And then the co-pilot, which this man is right here. All right. So, is there anything else?
Last, if you wish to record someone, please ask permission and give them $1,000. I will assume that you've done so. Should I notice recording being made?
Thank you so much, David. Give him a round as he comes here. All right, and now we have something that I have been working on for a while. It's called Proposition 1, and Stephanie's going to read that. We then take an assent or dissent, and you'll see what that adds up to in a moment.
And I'll just precede that by saying, if you haven't already done it, check out the wiki page for General John Kelly, who's taking over the White House now. Oh my God. General Ripper comes to mind. So here's Proposition 1. Whereas warfare is the worst of all crimes in that it embodies, encourages, and rewards all others. Whereas the definition of war as used at the Nuremberg trials is meet for the purposes of this proposition. Therefore, we, the party of the first part, all citizens of any nation, all of those who suffer from the effects and privations of war, who oppose it as a system, as a behavior, as a socially accepted institution, call for an end to war, cessation of all hostilities, the standing down of all military forces, and universal disarmament. Further, let it be known, we the people, the party of the first part, state by our assertion at this time and place that we stand opposed to the existence or use of military force as we now know it. All those in favor of Proposition 1 signify.
Signify by raising your hand, please.
All those opposed?
Opposed. Opposed.
Abstentions?
Abstentions.
It passes.
It passed. This is like the 10th week in a row that this is passed. Although I'm not surpassed. Yes. Okay. All right. So, Anwar, I do not believe Anwar is here. Is Anwar here? You're not Anwar, are you? No. Okay. If you want to read, we can work out signing in and stuff like that. If you want to be an audience,
Are you interested in reading? Just
performing, tap dancing, juggling nerd. All right. So, since we do not have the keynote present at the moment, we will go to the first person on the open.
Greg Carlisle.
Greg Carlisle. Greg Carlisle.
Yes, yes, yes.
And is this your first time here?
No, almost.
Almost. All right. Well, if it was the first time here, we would give him a huge hoot and holler, etc., etc., and so forth. So give him a round of applause as he comes up here, breaking the mic once more. Okay, and if you need this.
Okay, this is going to be very short.
That's good.
It's one
Get
poem by
Get really close to it.
Greg Carlisle. That's me, and that's very short. And then one by William Butler Yeats. That's also very short. I like short poems. Yeah. So okay. So I'll start with Yeats. The cloak, the poet, and no. Let's see if this is right. The cloak, the boat, and the shoes. What do you make so fair and bright? I make the cloak of sorrow. Oh, lovely to see in all men's sight shall be the cloak of sorrow in all men's sight. What do you build with sails for light? I build a boat for sorrow. Oh, swift on the seas all day and night shall the rover sails the rover sorrow all day and night. What do you have? White wool with wool so white. I have the shoes of sorrow. Soundless shall be the footfall fight in all men's sense ears, in all men's ears of sorrow, sudden and light. That was Yates. And then my little thing, which I call Mercury, because it's about communication. Okay, I'm starting to get junk mail in the form of funeral plans for as low as $1,000 if I would but respond. Wow, huh? Okay. I'm sorry, but my place is full of everything. I can't take on more. I have literally no room for the scam you are so proud of. I will consign it to the demons in hell, where your mom and dad were put for having brought you into this world of junk crap and time-consuming passions that take us all apart and reduce us to atoms if we're patient. That's it.
Thank you.
Owen Dunkel, you're up.
Carlisle. Thank you. Now, just to let you know, he read a poem by someone else, so I'm going to give him this with this, and he's going to put the name of the poet and the poem and his name, so that way I don't always use Charge of the Light Brigade by Charles Fawtry on the Death Aid playing E-flat major on
Mr. Yates on there
with a piccolo accompaniment.
Come on in, folks.
And then give Owen a round of applause while I just blabbercated there.
And John Rowe, you're up next to get the on-deck circle. John? You want to do? Yeah, you can sit in the on-deck circle.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, I've written
Hold on.
I've written a few lines.
Write down your name.
Stone demigods. The sorceress wanders over the skies. The snake hovers along the river. The hunter lets fly from a quiver of arrows. A darkening moon narrows. A flight of sparrows penetrating the blue. Okay, these are some oldies but goodies here. To Glenn Gould, because of the keyboard of endless imagination, from his fingering into the night of his very own Bach of endless harmonic persuasion of the saintly psyche, of time and the grace of being, of the quiet severity of his mastery, set aside from his wings sent to heaven, and from his very own size of angels. Alienated from my own poems, from my own use of language. Metaphors pass by. Images like flowers that droop in the desert, an alternative to her holy God, struck a radical, terrible, swift blow. To Vassar Miller. Life a vast reduction that observed, the brain a vast reducing valve, my metaphors walking alongside me like Old Testament oxen, suffer a sea change, become in the vast doldrums of space. You came to me like a vision, like a late espoused saint full of cunning simplicity in the long flowing sentences of your company, and southern lace curtains, the small town of midday quiet and elegance. Soar above me like a dominion, my angel of language. Hidden dreams. Sleep, night of softness of the clouds, O Regina of the world of words, apart from the choking industrial sun of every day, marking time hanging onto a bus strap, walking for me, away from me, O voyeur of empty space, a shower of arrows from my Lilliputian blondness, as my hair of my blunders is tied down to their hogsheds. Step to the usual, to the everyday, my mind eye a dark invisible Gulliver, taking a giant step to nowhere, tracing my mind to a lofty invisible cobweb dazzling down, its space leading to infinity. Sleeping beat, canto of the street, trilogies, cantatas, the eternal voyage of the heart, the mind, racing ahead of an old trooper hardened. The year of the smell of the woodsy roses. Oh, and wake up and smell the coffee, you lame wannabe, saith Dean, as his beatific devoted Marie ran off with a crack dealer. Call me Ishmael, eternal Ishmael, my mind hanging onto an eternal piece of the flotsam of paradise. A stranger in a strange land, my mind a reality away from theirs, my mind another time, another place, another space, away from the prettiness of the sunflowers, enough to crush my spirit, my heel, my devoted senses, phrases. The voyage of the poet in the night of the jungle, among the space of the vacuous trees. The temptress, thee. Sonic Pimpernels. Another dry forget-me-not season, another weird fretful day of many myriad men to pay, another excuse for not the muses of unreason. The mind's fretful treason as alive as a quiet chord, a yuppie's stern euphemisms have a kind horde, as my cowboy Lilliputian eases on a daily walk among the rubble of the gigantic mess heap of my small room, of his courageous eyes on the bubble of no peers but the Indian of his doom. I, the giant seer of Brobdingnag, can almost fly out, but are caught on my usual snag.
Thank you, Mr. Owen Dunkel. Thank you.
Monroe, you're up. Followed by Stephanie Manning in the.
Well, she's on deck.
Well, let's see. Maybe I'll read some of this. Let's see.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm
ready.
ready.
Let's raise it up.
I'll get it. There we go. So let's see. The Bhagavad Gita is a story of a argument between Arjuna and Krishna about going to war against their own families. And I often look at it like a bunch of little children arguing, because it was the dawn of civilization almost, and in a way they were just little people arguing, and it was debated, why should we do this, so, but anyway, and I think that's why Mahatma Gandhi liked the book, because there was so much doubt in it. So, so I can find something here, a real short line. Krishna, let's see, Sanjaya, devotion through. See. Well, this is just to Sanjaya. Krishna, beholding him thus influenced by compunction, his eyes overflowed with a flood of tears, and his heart oppressed with deep affliction, addressed him in the following words. Krishna, whence, O Arjuna, cometh upon thee this dejection in matters of difficulty? So, well, anyway, I just thought I'd read a few lines. I also wanted to mention that I have a portrait TV show coming up. I think it's the 21st, the third Monday, and it's at 816 Sacramento Street. And anybody can come. You can be in the open mic that goes to YouTube, and then you can watch us film the TV show that goes to Public Education and Government Channel. And also I have a fundraiser on Facebook, and if you can donate, please donate. I had sort of a destructive move. It's cheaper where I live, but they tore me apart in the move. So if you can help, I like producing videos for you, and I'm trying to get 3 terabytes of data up. So help if you can. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And see him about the open mic. It's a great one, and they do broadcast it, so it's good.
Stephanie Manning,
Stephanie Manning.
followed by Tony Avicoli.
Tony.
Right here.
Tony.
Alpha, beta, gamma rays. Obama leaves, Trump stays. And how do we live with this scum with lower and lower and lower income? His term still has too many days. Bernie Sanders has his ways for the poor to navigate the healthcare maze. The GOP plan yet to come, alpha, beta, gamma rays. Obama leaves, Trump stays. Once you count the ayes and nays, they win, we lose, the day is glum if you're not already numb. Obama leaves, Trump stays, alpha, beta, gamma rays.
Thank you.
I'm next, Dr. Tony.
Oh. Yeah, you can just
Okay.
tell it the way you like.
Okay.
Because we'll frame, yeah.
Sister always warned us in that ominous tone of voice, keep your hand away from it. That place. A hand in the wrong place is a sin, a mortal sin. Worst kind of sin, to touch yourself down there. Don't even touch it when you take a bath. The more she said it, the more I realized it's all I wanted to do. The first time my hand went down there, I didn't go with it. Eyes straight forward in the bed, staring into the dark, hand with a mind of its own. I knew what it wanted to do, but I had no say. When it was over, I wiped my sticky hand and fell asleep. I didn't remember a thing in the morning. Today, there is no down there, no near occasion of sin. Idle hands are not the devil's workshop. My hand can explore my body freely. Still, sometimes I hear Sister's voice in the back of my head. But instead of trembling with fear at the sound of it, I laugh and say, "This one's for you, Sister." I don't know how many other people went through Catholic school, but it was hell.
I went through it for a little
It was
bit.
hell. So this next poem is a total change of mood. It's dedicated to Iris Canada, who was a 100-year-old African-American woman who died after her eviction. Yes, they actually evicted a 100-year-old woman. She lived not far from here. And she was a friend of mine and also a client. She wanted the memories they stole from her, the landlords and their high-priced lawyers, the judge who declared the theft legal, the sheriff who was only doing her job. She wanted the photos, the memorabilia, her husband's paintings, the dreams and the longings, the 6 decades within those walls, knowing every inch of every room, the laughter, the tears, the family and friends, the things that make boards and windows and furniture into a whole lot more than they are. She lay in the hospital while the landlords and the high-priced lawyers tore out the memories, piling them into a truck. Her favorite dresses in the bedroom closet, the red sofa she sat on every night to watch TV, even the wheelchair she sometimes needed to get around. She lay in the hospital. Heart wouldn't stop racing no matter what the doctors did. Their drugs and their machines didn't matter anymore. The landlords and their high-priced lawyers, the judge, the sheriff, had stolen another piece of her black neighborhood, ripped out her soul, stolen her home. And I want to end with an old poem from the late 80s. And this was back at a time when most of my friends were dying of AIDS. It was a really horrible, it was probably the worst decade of my life, one that I would never want to relive. And this is a poem that I wrote during that really dark period. Too many people gone, don't look back. Too many vanished faces, scratched out addresses, unfinished conversations. Too many here today, gone tomorrow. Too many regrets. I didn't even know he was sick. Too many obits taped to the kitchen wall. Too many tears in the middle of the night when sleep never showed up. Too many people who wanted us all dead. Lot's wife was lucky. I look back and I turn to rage. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Tony. He comes back every once in a while. I love it. All right, and now David Ehrenreich, my co-host of the evening, is coming up there to take care of the business. Please give him a round. Huh? Oh, yeah. Thank you.
A couple of quick things. Tony reminded me of the masturbation thing. I loved Lenny Bruce's reaction to it, and he said, I was afraid that my hands would fall off, my arms would fall off, and maybe I'd grow wings and I'd only be able to fan it a little. And also, I like the segue from Scaramouche to Kelly. It's kind of like, oh, the mafia is equal to the Pentagon. Oh, yeah. The little killers, pretty big, moderate, medium-sized killers, and the big killers. Yeah. Now I get it. Now I understand. Good segue, Don. Mr. Scump. Okay. So much for that.
Thank you.
There's a pile of open letters on my bed, 3 to 6 months worth, some even unopened. They all make the same assumption with the same pitch. Give my organization money and we will do good. At the end of a calendar year, there are a number of organizations to whom I give $20, $50. In return, I get colorful address labels with my name and a natural scene or emblem on it. I get calendars. But I ruminate on the pile for months at a time, wishing I could send more money instead of just waiting for the end of the year to pay my dues. These payments make me feel good, feel important, feel I'm contributing, feel I'm socially relevant. There's a larger socially unquestioned element here that goes unchallenged. Money will fix everything. Its acquisition, for its own sake, leads to rampant greed. This, more obvious than ever in our culture where corporate CEOs are expected to and encouraged to make 1,000 times more than their lowest worker. We have mistaken the vessel for the substance, the elixir, the salve, the cure. Here in Berkeley and Oakland, the number of visible people living on the street in tents has mushroomed explosively. This in a climate where winter is wet, but not really freezing, and getting significantly warmer every year. Jurisprudence? How did prude, modest to a fault, become prudent, sensible? Think of the Gulf of Mexico as your face. Think of oil wells as pimples, or better yet as boils. Take a look at yourself. You've got the plague. Purchasing your acquiescence, glorifying the pimp. I went to high school in Poughkeepsie at Oakwood School, a Quaker private school. Main plant of IBM, International Business Machines, I Take a Shit, was visible down the hill, a couple of miles away on the Hudson River. 4 seniors, not senior citizens like I am now, 4 high school seniors took a 2-week course on computers there in 1964 as part of our curriculum. This when a computer was big enough to occupy a whole room. My teacher bragged that he made an improvement to computers by substituting plastic for a certain component that was originally metal. He gave up the patent rights to IBM. They saved millions. They gave him $22,000. And a classroom with a view of the Hudson. IBM was and is distinctly anti-union. They told you what cars you could drive depending on your salary. They, quote-unquote, allowed exactly 22 minutes for lunch when everywhere else paid for either a half hour or an hour. One lunch hour I couldn't hold in any longer. I had to give up 5 to 10 minutes of my lunch minutes to use the bathroom. Men's room, 6 stalls. I find an empty one by chance. I sit. Not a sound. Dead silence. I look under the partitions down the line. Every other stall is occupied. Finish my business and leave. Nobody else has so much as breathe. Their sphincters are so tight they're hiding out during the lunch third of an hour in the John. Corporate think. Tighten your butt for money. It isn't just that enforced poverty hits people of color proportionally harder. It's the waste of human potential coupled with palpable gloom. And corporate greed perpetuates hiding behind the mask of false democracy. If you're homeless, where do you take a shit without fouling your own nest? Are you capable of fixing your own plumbing? Food, shelter, healthcare. Congressional thievery is out of control. I have a good paying job for you that needs your human supervision. You get to operate a vehicle and use machinery, cleaning porta potties. Get to the point. The waters rise, those stones flush with the surface disappear. Even the thieves have lost their way, but the cusp, a point or pointed end formed where two curves meet, either horn of a crescent moon, a projecting point in the internal curve of an arch, a sharp rigid point on a leaf, any prominence on the chewing surface of a tooth, eating greens and ruminating. As the pages turn, two fold in the middle and touch outer edge to outer edge. Poem transforms into dance, music transforms into painting, still life is crocheted into soup. Tess reacts to her tesseract. All bets are off. The race was never run because the winner was known in advance, but it must have run because what's done cannot be undone. Lost in the sands are civilizations. Buried under Troy are alternative Troys. The idea that humans can exterminate themselves as a species is a difficult point to extend. In fact, humans are prone to destroying their best efforts, falling into the mire, rising again in new forms. This theme is underwritten as a petroglyph, a mysterious stranger, a stepper of mountains, the spirit of the whispered wisp, the murmur of the myrrh, to see through the sea, the hissing S disappears, cusp rounds to cup. The human vessel holds the thump of eternity by the edge of its fingernails. At the click of the castanets, the black hole will escort you to your new home. But first, you'll be asked to discard your bigotry. That was written by End Around.
Thank you. Ed McHugh. Thank you, David Erlenreich.
Oh, I'm sorry. And next we have
Ed McHugh.
Ed Myq, followed by this Dan.
This Dan. Not the other Dan.
All right, let's make
Focus
this
him
a
up
little
here.
Destroy it.
Want to sign in? Yeah. Okay. Any number there. Okay.
This lady in the supermarket came up to my mom in the margarine section where mom was trying to get the brand she wanted edged down from Stutter, the stack on the top shelf, and started yammering about how you should only use Imperial. I think that's what I remember of what mom told me. But mom said, no, look at that, has cottonseed oil in it, and that's hydrogenated or something like that starts up the machine inside you that makes the no good rat bad cholesterol. Faye was there too, with mom, and wanted Fleischmann's margarine. And the lady who was there told about how she had one of the two kinds of lupus. The not so bad kind, it could be. Mom said there were more than two, maybe. And that her daughter had the real bad kind and died from medical mistreatment after getting cortisone shots. And just everything, just about everything, organs especially, began to go wrong. And how she died at around age 30. And how this lady said, you have to watch your diet in the supermarket.
Do you want to read?
Lonely road to San Francisco, hooves pounding, into the city and west to the sea. Back east across San Francisco Bay, a central California morning tule fog burns off into a sun's golden angel, rushing over the clown face of history, sweeping down to the Pacific Ocean's far scattered islands into the Asian Orient. First, then, come below to San Francisco Bay, to those flats where a Pony Express stopped, might have stayed a night at 7 Mile House, still there since 1853 on Bayshore, a lonely boulevard at San Francisco's southeast end, that today starts Brisbane, south at Geneva Avenue, and then heads north that 7 miles to the Ferry Building. At Mission Street, hook west to the San Francisco Mint. There, Wells Fargo stagecoaches changed payloads, having first maybe pawed at the 7 Mile House, stopped the night, delivering mail, exchanging passengers, feeding, watering hard-pressed horses, and then out again into night or dawn on that still lonely Bayshore, up 7 miles to San Francisco, hooves pounding. It's a great place for jazz, by the way. And on Tuesday night, the great trumpeter Al Molina and his group performed. Al lives in Burlingame now. He and I are about the same age, early 80s, and he's a great trumpeter.
Yes, he is.
Crazy Quilt. The winner, in the end, is a process. Losers are the notions missing rain, sunshine, laundry days, urban legends, equivocations, dissembling lies are what they are down with. Tapestry notions that pop up to combine the towels that don't smell like bowels and sheets that don't smell of feet are prescient. It's some crazy quilt popping back up into our dreams. Crazy quilt.
Who's after me?
Layla Sarkeesian.
Layla?
Layla.
You want to take the
the on-deck chair.
On-deck chair, that way you don't have to be inconvenienced and like that. So am I playing well? No, I'm not playing well. David.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Badly done.
All right. So,
Now you are.
thank you.
You're good.
So these are short, except for the first one, which is medium short, and they're all from workshop things that I did, and I'll explain that. So this is called What with Who. Don't confuse my what with my who. That's one kind favor I'll ask of you. Anyone can disguise anyone with what they think they see by believing what someone can or cannot be. Skin colors color opinions through and through with unspoken prejudgments invisibly held as true. But this sharp blade cuts both ways and right through, slicing those whom you see as well as deeply into you. While it may be correct, one always has a choice as to when, where, why, or how one uses one's voice, or that it vitally matters that you say what you feel. You can't retract thoughts once you've made them real. When you speak, and no matter how you do, don't confuse anyone's what with their who. Blood is always red, every soul void of hue. Love is love beneath the skin of anyone you see, so who enslaves whom when perceptions aren't free? When you confuse someone's what with their who, naming separates the life and the loving heart out of you. What's your take on the color of a kind hand that gives? What's the color of the forever love that always lives? If you keep your heart in truth, hear what it has to say. Its love and understanding will sweep all that old thinking away. To the man, the establishment, those of the 1%, this matters to us above all else. It's why we rally, why we vent. And we know who you are, and what it is you do, and promise we won't be confusing your what with your who. And this is angels. This is another poem. Write a poem about angels. Angels, whoever they were once, whatever they did once. They are now something else. They may deign to consider, nod in recognition, reminisce with understanding and compassion, but are not convinced by tears, moved by humility or modesty, even when these accompany the most sincere of imprecations. No, none such of these move an angelic soul, nor do they recognize you when you indicate, prevaricate, or postulate. Still, in their dazzling robes, radiant wings, and through their incandescent hearts, they bless with compassion, are melodious of voice, do ordain and implore for the common good, the duty to persevere on behalf of everyone. And they do this, in the main, by exemplification, and then hoping for the best. And this one's, the prompt was a warning. And as a longtime teacher of second grade children, I would often provide them with warnings of life and what to not do and beware of. But anyway, can you imagine being a 7-year-old and hearing this? Warning. You want me to read a story? Do you? Well, I just might. But you should know I don't just read what's there. I will tell a story on a story. Give the word up on a word and we'll go off. Come to tell me more, and I do things with stories, with you inside. I get under your skin, tickle your fancy, get you to look at things differently. Trouble is, once you know how to do that, you never, ever stop. The warning.
Thank you so much. Who's next?
How do you pronounce your name? Lila?
You've been here before.
Sarkeesian? Is that correct? Sarkeesian?
Yes.
There you go.
That's good. Make sure that's really close. Let me just.
All of the poems I'm going to read tonight, I wrote in Sally Love Saunders' Live Poets Workshop, and she is our featured poet coming up later. Inspirations. Last night I asked before I fell into slumber, serenity and peace, where can I find you? We glean here in your daily thoughts and travels, in the gentle caresses of the ocean, in the intimate conversations with your best friends since age 3, in the dogwood trees you frolicked under at your grandparents' house, in your grandmother's timeless words of wisdom, in the hummingbird's search for nourishment. A centered, meaningful life has not forsaken you due to the course of world events. It is simply time to remember. Metamorphosis. O caterpillar, green and silky, even milky, you weave yourself around and create a cocoon wrapped around the muckety-muck and mundaneness of everyday life, struggling each day as you may, yet never losing eternal hope. The leaves fall, the snow comes down like a Norman Rockwell scene. Months of deprivation pass. Alas, a multiple of crocuses appears. You emerge, a victor, a leader, an enlightener, a monarch butterfly of the universe. After the deluge, what can be diffused? Open sesame, gates of heaven, to the code of number 7. What is the mystery of this place? Angels sparkling and full of grace. Someday here I will be one, reunited with all those loved. Idyllic summertime. Birds singing at dawn against the azure sky. Ice cream cones, lemonade, sandals, cutoffs, and t-shirts. Carefree, endless days by the sea, drinking in savory, creamsicle-like sunsets. A symphony creating masterpiece for the human spirit. Gratitude. When I shine with an attitude of gratitude, I have a choice of more latitude. A rainbow enters my sight, and suddenly I know everything will be all right. This revelation steers me out of my fright into an omnipresent light. Coming home. Turning the key in the lock, gasping, I view the clock. I made it through this week. Another day, another dollar, still is worth a grand old holler. Decompressing, re-energizing, planning for a weekend of serendipity and serenity, all wrapped into a cashmere blanket.
Thank you.
David Gregory. Followed by our feature.
Oh yes, and I'll be introducing the feature. But David Gregory, an honored individual of note, merit, and esteem.
1914. The road to Sarajevo, Archduke Franz Ferdinand took, where he met young Gavrilo, whose fatal shots shook Europe's 40 years of calm. That Sunday, June 28. Raised spectre of war's alarm, men in power full of hate. Mobilized armies in haste, planned short victorious war. Thinking not of order waste, shook the world to its core. The road from Sarajevo, 27 anxious days, when everything seemed stable, the world, the summer's days. Diadochoi, successor to Alexander. After Alexander died, what happened to his family? Olympias, his mum, tried by murderous conspiracy to obtain supreme power. Alexander's half-brother, Philip III, and his wife were killed in duel for power. Olympias started a strife for a 6-year-old grandson. But Macedonians hate this half-Iranian child of Alexander. He staked their fortunes on mild Cassandra's just vengeance. Olympus was condemned in military show trial. Relatives and those she killed executed her in style as their former queen. New leaders, looking with utter disdain at those in supreme power, men who are pompously vain, scornful to the poor who cower. In Elysee or White House, names don't really matter. Puppets roaring like a mouse, opinion polls they batter. The Napoleon's reborn, without its intellect, met with universal scorn for the utter lack of tact. How long will they really last? That is the fateful question. Or like items long due past, moulder on in transgression. Thank you, friend.
David Gregory.
And now I'm going to return to the microphone very briefly because I'm going to introduce our feature for the evening. Now, how many know Sally Love Saunders? Okay, so okay, and I don't have to introduce that part. I'll introduce the other part. The woman has an imagination, a connection to the word that goes way, way back. She can talk about writing poems when she was a very little, teeny, tiny person. Okay? She enjoyed it then, she enjoys it now. She's used her talent and her skills as a poet, as a writer, to help other people. You think, oh my God, people can help people through poetry. It's true. She's done that. She's done workshops and she's done healing with other individuals. She's worked with medical professions. She is a person who's taken her poetry to a level that most people go, what? I didn't know that was possible. So she has a wide variety of styles and things that she writes about. And I know you're going to enjoy that, so rather than listen to we're going to have you listen to her. Sally Saunders, kindly come up here, please.
Well, justice, and according to your preferences.
Oh, wow.
She always does this. The all of a sudden the place gets full. Okay, so is this good like this?
Yeah, that's good.
I've been looking forward to this so much, I don't know if this is just me looking forward to it, if it's already, if this is
Let me
really
go
it.
on the mic a little bit.
Oh, what?
Let me just help this a little bit.
Oh, okay.
A little lower.
Okay.
That's a little better.
Can we put the mic in front of you too, Sally, or it's off to your
Because
side?
you'll hear it. It'll be heard
I'm
better.
impressed, nobody's ever told me I'm not talking loud enough.
Yeah.
Usually it's keep your voice down.
But that's good. If you stand there, it'll be
Okay.
It'll be good.
The mic is your friend.
Today, Wednesday, August 2nd, I saw a coyote up close. And the coyote saw me. Coyote so worried, looking, and skinny. Did someone disturb his home? His face crying, his body wiry and windblown. Coyote walked away, then we met again. So much to talk about, so much to share. In a few days, I'll read new poems in sacred grounds. I'm a Twitter, like getting ready for company, or getting ready for the junior prom. Days ahead, starry and sunning self. In a few days, I'll read new poems at sacred grounds. You know what? If you could please hold the applause till the end, then I can get more poems in.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you. Bringing newborn poems to sacred grounds. A baptism. A baby poem shower. Use sacred grounders, godparents, and family to guide new poem babies. At a poetry reading, we gather, lone buffaloes, roaming the barren plain. We join, making a crowd, making lovely sounds loud, thundering and galloping. I am at home here with the noise, surprised to be at home, new oneness. Yes, I'm one of the herd, pounding. This poem is written in whispers. I'm a still lake with greenery growing around, graced by beautiful bird poets at sacred grounds who come and visit my lake. Here's a very recent poem I wrote. I was at the park in the Panhandle, and there was a Dalmatian dog, and there was a Tai Chi person, and they weren't together when they came to the park, but they were together in the park in spirit. So I wrote a poem about them just a few days ago. Dancers in the park. Trim pointed pointer dog. Studied moves so carefully, no extra skin. Pointer dog pointing and a Tai Chi artist who also measures movements. They seem to be so aware of each other, as though partners in space. I went back a day later, and the dog was there, but the dancer wasn't there. So it was just that moment that I was able to capture. August 2nd at Sacred Grounds, so tickling in my mind for so long. I'm feeling like a dolphin, spinning up in the air, twirling. You, my friends, are on a cruise ship, watching. We're all enjoying sunshine and splashing. Buckets. was 6, I had a tin bucket that was colorful and rusty. It held sand, but not water. Yet Bucket and I went to the beach daily to enjoy sun, water, and sand. Now I'm old. I have a make-believe bucket, a bucket list of all I want to do before I die, before I kick the bucket. As when I was 6 and had a bucket, this bucket has holes, so sometimes what I put in it leaks out. I cannot control what stays and what leaks out, because often sand leaks out with water. So there's never been a bucket in my life that holds all I want to hold. How about if we were all airplane flyers, writing words in the skies, writing poems, poetic thoughts? We would waltz by each other and bow our hats. What would you write? What would you want to read? Taking a million baths, the glorious golden water from the very full moon showers onto me, cleansing my body and soul, making very clean. The moon, a magnet. As a toddler, I struggled to the window ledge to see the light moon. Couldn't quite say moonlight. Taking a moon bath, the glorious golden water from the very full moon showers onto me, cleansing my body and soul, making very clean. I wrote a poem, so satisfying. It must be like a chicken who laid a warm egg. I wrote a poem. I gave birth. Vacuum cleaner lady. With great noise and force, you suck in people, resources, again people, into your devouring belly. Memories, golden fishes swimming gracefully in the bowl of clear water, which is my soul. So alive they swim, displaying their beauty. Downsizing. Greg, thank you for reading my poem. He has the most wonderful program every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, except the first Wednesday is for 45 minutes. It's Senior Center Without Walls, and you call in and he reads poetry, and it's just a wonderful treat. I couldn't recommend it more. And today he read one of my poems, and here he is, the great poem. Downsizing. A poem or a song should be written about downsizing. When I was a teenager, the buzzword was junior prom. Then it was the talk about getting married and having babies. Now I'm in my 70s, and I have many friends there too. And what do we talk about now? Downsizing. Downsizing has created a new look for my apartment. Parts of it look new, like a minimalist would have, giving away treasures to younger family or friends. Ensure that they have a longer life. Like at Easter time, now with me hunting for places to put treasures. Downsizing has its own beat. First music act is slow, then it gets going and picks up speed. Downsizing, a song or a poem, should be written about downsizing. One of the topics I did in one of my workshops was the silliest thing you've ever done. I think it's important to be silly. It was in an auditorium at the University of California Medical School. I was a featured poet to give the talk on the healing power of poetry. Students came in white coats, doctors with stethoscopes around their necks, a dear friend with a silk scarf positioned in his pocket. The chairs all lined up. I had prepared and re-prepared business briefcase at my side. Something wasn't right. I did not know what. Jim kept pointing to my feet. Why, I didn't know. Then I realized I should look at my feet, which I did. And lo and behold, toilet paper was attached to my heel. So I said, now that the ice is broken and ripped it off, sometimes I think about the toilet paper talk and wonder if I should again plant a long piece of toilet paper in my heel. I feel a poem coming on. like the ocean curling into itself, preparing to lunge and splash, covering all rocks nearby. I feel a poem coming on, my back arched up like a cat ready to hiss and spray. I feel a poem coming on. Soon there'll be angry cloudbursts of rain words, drenching words, plenty of rain words. I feel a poem coming on. Soon, very soon. Senior Circus. There is a senior circus. I'm sure you know what I mean. Those seniors who dazzle us with amazing acts like going to Rome off the surgery table, and of running marathons in their 70s, and working with sharp minds into their 80s. Well, there is a senior circus, and I'm sure you know what I mean. But I am a lazy old southern dog, swatting flies in the shade. I cannot dazzle you with any amazing circus acts. Just smiles. Paper listens, and listens and listens, page after page. It doesn't roll up to stop, does not rip away. Paper listens and listens, page after page. Paper catches my poems like a professional baseball player catches a baseball. Click, it's caught. In the corner of the glove, not to drop. A poem kicks at the door of my mind. Not now, I lazily reply. I'm half asleep. Later. There is no later. I want to come in now and be seen. Later, I will have vanished. I like it best. In silence, we slice through huge hills and valleys, the car a very sharp knife finding the way. It is though this sharp knife slices through warm, buttery hillsides. We are riding so smoothly, no spot on windshields, no curious noise, just sliding along, as if on a silver sleigh, enjoying, 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 mile after mile, hour after hour. Silence hums to me. The brooks gather around my ankles and giggles. Stillness cradles me mentally. I lie on my back with outstretched arms, no input of computer, telephone, or visitors. Silence hums to me, my soul in a hammock, on a lazy hot summer afternoon. Life is perfect, fully round and airborne. Driving off from poets' gatherings, the different topics, voices, and feelings making a mosaic in my heart. The card and needle, sewing together all the pieces. Remembering with a soft smile, flashlight under sheets, writing poetry when parents thought I was asleep. Remembering grabbing for a napkin to catch a poem. Remembering the smile on a gray-haired migrant laborer when the poem he wrote was publicized in the local newspaper, and we put it on the cinder block wall of his home. Remembering with a smile making poetry with Navajo children in classroom in Navajo land. Remembering with warmth the moon outside my window winking at me and calling me a poem. Remembering coming to Sacred Grounds when I first came to San Francisco and read my poems and made friends with Teddy Gilbert and Red Stewart. Boy, that was back in the very early 70s.
Yeah.
Hello, paper. I've come to visit with you. Nothing in particular to repeat or ask. Just want to be with you. Enjoy your receptiveness and quiet and space. The lines receiving me. Space to be. A piece of paper all to myself. You don't criticize or bite at me. Your neutrality beckons me. My head is in a blender. Whirl, spin, chop. When it stops, the air is quiet and still. But then someone comes in and pushes me to spin, and I spin. And my ice sprays out the top. It makes a mess, a sloppy mess. People come in to clean up the mess and say, oh, what a mess. Poetic thoughts gurgling but stuttering. Pen cannot catch these poetic thoughts. They flit around like electric tiddlywinks. So I bring cooling balm of paper to catch them like a safety net, and they land nicely on paper. Phew! I see you there, round-faced moon, peeking in my window as I sleep. Your face so perky and round, but you choose not to send warmth just looking at me with your very round face. I'm cold and I could use warmth. The yellow blanket of your rays would feel so nice, but you choose to just stare with your perfect face. I never knew my grandmother, but my mother showed me her home and her lace, and even the lace my aunt inherited, as though the lace was my grandmother's footprints and fossils of her being. I do not own any lace. My poems are my fossils, to hopefully be looked at in future generations. Blind date. You're using me as a dartboard, throwing your talk at me, to see pattern of darts reflected back to you. All I am is pinned to the wall, flat as wood. Ouch, you're hurting me, as you pass darts of your talk, all about you at me, ouch. All I can hear is the ping of darts, ping, 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 ping. So much it is deafening. Let me out of this table, out to fresh air, out to moving once more. Just one little star. Or is it a sheep in the sky? But mostly empty sky, empty of golden moonlight, empty of smiling moon face. Just one lonely lost star, lost from its galaxy family, all alone in cold metal sky. The moon is not here. He's totally left. Visitor I now have is the foghorn, who is pompous and too talkative, but I can't shut him up. My moon friend comes quietly and sits by me, hums and sends sweet vibes. I miss my moon friend. Looking forward to our concert in a few hours. I'll read my poems and your ears will reverberate, and together my poems and your ears' instruments will make beautiful music. The rafters at Sacred Grounds will rise and echo our symphony. Looking forward to our concert in a few hours. Here's another one about the moon. I like to think of myself as a moon poet. Sweet moon, a poem kicking loudly in my womb, like drumming noise wanting to be heard. The kicking poem about how when I'm injured and in pain, the moon comes in more often to look in on me. Yes, the moon visits me more often when I'm injured and in bed. Sweet moon. I'm looking for my companion, the moon. He's nowhere to be found. Guess he's busy sweeping clouds of dust away to set the stage for rain. The moon, my most frequent visitor, while sick and lying in bed. He comes unannounced and stares at me as I sleep. Sometimes he brings his grandchildren, the lively stars. Beautiful round full moon, hiding behind the shade of cloud, so that all that peeks out is a sliver of gold. How I wish you could raise the shade that hides you. I don't write poetry. Poems come to me and say, "Excuse me," then write. The words settle down on paper on their own obedient children in uniform. We've all known people who have cooked delicious meals for us or watched magic shows. Now it's my turn to bring you freshly written poems. I hope to smell like freshly baked bread. I'm a cook with words. My recipes are my soul, my heart voices. Knowing you was a dance in and out of shadows. Sometimes you danced in sunlight, other times you disappeared into darkness. I watched you dance for many years with many different backdrops. Now the curtain is down. Stunned, I sit in gallery, unable to get up and move away. Knowing you was a dance, in and out of shadows. Sometimes you danced in sunlight, other times you disappeared into darkness. Cake baking spoon eaters, you know what I mean? There you are in the kitchen baking like brain surgery, and in walks your brother, licks the spoon and is off. I don't bake anymore, nor do I have a brother, but still there are cake spoon lickers in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I didn't mean to blow you away like a dandelion. Now all that's left is the stuff of dandelion after all the petals have taken flight. I didn't mean to blow you away like a dandelion. It is 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. My pilot light is burning. Quiet, even sirens are asleep. Every cell in me is alive and humming, ready to create, to write. Something so very juicy about the very early morning when I wake. Underpinnings. My life's so full of stitches, holding together people in my life, connecting us, grounding us, endless run of stitches, like a sewing machine. A stitch, stitch, pin, and more stitch. Am I making a quilt with a pattern, a life design, or will I be a perpetual state of being pinned together? Poetry, my best friend. I can pull you up around my ears and shield out the world. You cozy my life, giving me a fireplace when I need it. Poetry, my center. A proud parent. Poems are my babies. They grow from me. I tend to them. I don't know if they'll grow up straight and strong or not. First time I see them on paper is like the nurse bringing to the new mother, in a delivery room, in a book, their graduation day. Full moon. It is 4 a.m. Very full moon is leading the whole world in spirituals. I can hear outside my window. Full moon, you are leading us in song. Bug eyes. Oh, yes, I hear. Now there is hushed silence, like only at a symphony hall before the music begins. You are here listening, enjoying divine spiritual music. The moon in its full bloom, perfect state, like a peacock with feathers full. Silence is miracle growth from my green sprouting poems. Green fields of silence so welcoming to new crop of poetry. Abundant sweet silence is miracle growth from my green sprouting poems. I'm a word painter. I carve sentences out of soapstone and rub my hand over them until they're smooth. I'm a balloon woman. Many colorful balloons follow me. I can choose which idea, which plan, or which person to see it win. Easily I can let one balloon float away so I can let the air out. I like to be a squirrel, easily running up and down tree trunks. I'm a gold panner, finding gold nuggets of poetry in people who thought there wasn't any. I'm a poet. Words are my craft. Like a blacksmith, I hammer and hammer away until the lines fit. Into the furnace of my mind they go, and out into the cool, onto the metal working space. Sometimes I'm a glass blower, the fire of my feelings forging shapes and forms. Sometimes I'm a smiling, toothless 6-year-old with pigtails, saucer eyes, and a big smile. Sometimes I'm an adolescent, moody, wondering, who am I? Who am I? I'm the question, not the answer. Here's a poem I wrote about Greg Fun. We gathered at his feet as siblings do to parents or a grandparent who reads and tells stories. Greg, our father, nourishes us, and we are delighted, amused, warmly touched. Our separate responses harmonize. Don't forget, Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Tune in.
He'll give you all the information.
Wish could stand up here on my hands, so to set the stage of doing backward what I want is for me to now clap, and before I read, expressing my gratitude to you, the listening souls who nourish me and my poems. So now, I want to step backwards and clap for you. Would Miss Manners say bad manners to write on demand, ignoring polite conversation? Would Miss Manners say about begging the waitress a napkin to quickly write? One time I was in the ladies' room and I had an inspiration and I needed to get a towel to write it on. And there was, you know how some people are very slow pulling down the towels? Thinking of you sounds like two metal needles, knitting briskly yarns of varied colors and textures, the patterns forming questions, regrets, and memories. Such clicking as the needles cross backwards and forwards up in front of my eyes. A poem is caught in my throat. The ink on the pen dry. For some reason the words won't flow. Frozen feelings, like on a very icy day in New Hampshire. Long for the thaw of words with gushing movement until free of what is trapped inside. Dockside. My boat is in a harbor these days. It's rocking gently and not traveling any place. It feels good just to be in the harbor with the charts folded and the compass ignored. There aren't any train whistles haunting me in the night. I'm not concerning myself about the morning, when distant winds will call me and faraway sands will beckon. Questions of future plans, buzzing flies I brush away. I'm not looking around the bend. There are no winds pushing me to move. It's enough for now to be very much nestled here in this harbor with my sails folded and my engine off, soft waves lapping against my side so very soothing. My boat is in a harbor these days. It's rocking gently and not traveling any place. How am I doing on time?
You got about a minute, two, something like that.
Disillusioned. Once I thought I could jump onto the petals of an apple tree, but found they were as light as air. Once I thought all leaves were lovely and never saw the scars. Today she offered a helping hand to hope that it may be filled with praise. Like a child throwing an armful of leaves into the air, the sun pushes its rays above the rim of the ocean. Let me use whatever time I have left, the seconds I have left, to invite you all. The Cultural Integration Fellowship, October 22nd, which is just a block from here. It's in 3rd and Fulton.
So it's not a block from here. Oh, wait a minute, 3rd and Fulton, yeah.
Well, no, Fulton's a block from here, but the 3rd is down that way.
Down that
Yeah.
way, yeah.
Well, a block as far as a rocket goes.
A rocket block.
Yeah. But we have a lot of fun. It's all about bringing poems you like to share. And then they have wonderful refreshments. And it's just kind of like a poetry party, wouldn't you call it, Dan?
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And then lastly, on January 10th, I'll be back here to turn 78. So I hope you'll all come.
All right.
That's it. I wanted to be sure to get that in. But daybreak, like a child throwing an armful of leaves into the air, The sun pushed its rays above the width of the ocean. Now how much time do I have?
Yeah, you got room for a couple little short ones. That should be good. Just a minute. All right.
Left behind, a leaf falls, a grain of sand rolls. A leaf falls and is covered by snow. A grain of sand rolls and is carried out to sea. An event happens but is left behind in a tear. But let me just, instead of reading a poem, I just want to thank you for being here and with your ears really focused on me. It's just been a wonderful experience. You know, as a poet, you write, you wonder, gosh, am I just wasting paper? And to be able to share it with you has really been a wonderful experience. I guess you could see my goosebumps. So instead of reading a last poem, I just want to thank each one of you. I felt such a wonderful connection with all of you. And I can't thank you enough. And thank you for doing this.
Give her a round, please. Jonathan Saunders. Healing Harold Word. So we're going to take a quick break. The streaming camera will be turned off so you can speak as you might like. And just to let you know, this particular door prize here, it mentions the healing power of faith. Now, you think about that, you think you know what it means, but there is several studies out that showed that people who had certain kinds of cancer had the best results with the treatment that they thought was best, not what the doctors did. If they believed in that treatment, that worked for them more. And there's a whole bump up in whether or not the patient believes this is great, whatever it is. And so there's a whole factor in there that's very mysterious. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in 7 minutes. 2 announcements. Next week we have Rusty Rebar. That's his nickname. He's a great poet. And the week after, that's on the 9th, and the 16th is my birthday. We're going to have it here. We're going to have a cake. And people are going to come and just read, and I'm going to give away books like you never even believe. Even some of my books, I'll be just giving them away. Just giving them away. So it should be fun. Come back for that and the other, and we will see you in a few minutes.
Thank you very much.
Take a break. Oh, yeah, you did it. Oh, because it's still doing this.